I'm just gonna post this just to get it off my chest. My friends think I'm paranoid, and my parents keep telling me I watch too many horror movies. I had the police come out once. They looked around for maybe 10 minutes and basically shrugged because nothing had been stolen. But something is happening, and I don't think it's over. For context, I live alone in a small rental house on the edge of town. Behind my backyard is a strip of woods that stretches for miles before hitting farmland. During the day, it's honestly kind of pretty. At night, it's just black. I've lived here for almost 3 years without any issues. That changed about 6 weeks ago. I was taking my trash out around 10 o'clock when I noticed someone standing between the trees. They weren't walking, they were just standing there. He was too far away for me to make out any details, but I could tell he was facing directly towards me. I remember thinking maybe he was hunting or looking for his dog. Then he raised one arm and waved. It wasn't a big wave. It's just a slow back and forth wave. I awkwardly waved back because, I don't know, human instinct, I guess. Then I went inside. The next morning I checked where he had been, but he wasn't there. I didn't think much about it until 2 nights later. Same place and around the same time, 10 o'clock. Standing in almost the same exact spot. He was just waiting. When I walked into the porch, he waved again. Just a slow back and forth wave. He was waving like he knew me. This time I decided to ignore him, and I went back inside. Over the next week or so, I saw him, I think 4 more times. It was always around the same time, 10, sometimes 10:30 or even 11. And he was always in the trees, just watching, and he always waved. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed a flashlight and walked towards the woods. The beam reached where he had been standing, but I didn't find anything. There was no footprints, and he wasn't there. It was just the trees. I laughed at myself for getting worked up. Then my flashlight caught something nailed into one of the trunks. It was a photograph, and it was a photograph of me, taken from behind while I was mowing my lawn. I tore it down and looked around. Still, I didn't see anybody. I called the police, and they searched for maybe half an hour, and they didn't find anything. The officer suggested some teenagers were messing with me, and I truly wanted to believe that. But after that, more pictures just kept appearing, and they were all of me. Every picture was of me doing something different, like carrying groceries. One was through my window as I was asleep on the couch, sitting at my kitchen table, and the angles bothered me. To take the one where I was sitting at the kitchen table, someone would have had to been inside my fenced backyard, looking through the sliding glass door. I decided to buy cameras and motion lights, new locks. For about a week, nothing happened. I decided to check the footage. Every night, around 2 o'clock, a figure walked out of the woods. He would just stand outside the range of the motion lights perfectly still, and he would stand there for like 20 minutes. Then he'd walk back into the trees. He never triggered any of the sensors on my cameras or the lights. Never crossed the property line, he just watched. I showed the recordings to police, and they said technically he wasn't trespassing. As long as he stayed off my property, there wasn't much they could do. This pissed me off, 'cause obviously he was stalking me, or that's what I thought. I started sleeping with every light on in the house. About 10 days ago, I woke up because my bedroom door was open, and I always close it before I go to bed. I thought maybe I'd forgotten until I noticed something on the floor. It was a single muddy footprint, and it was a bare footprint, like he wasn't wearing any shoes. It was too large, and it led into my hallway and stopped. There were no return prints, nothing. The windows were locked, the doors were locked. I searched every closet and underneath every bed with a baseball bat. Everything was empty. I barely slept after that. Last Friday, my sister came over. I didn't tell her everything because I don't want to sound absolutely crazy. We ordered pizza and watched TV. When she was getting ready to leave, she looked at me strangely, and she asked me if I was living with somebody. I froze. I told her no one else was here. She laughed and she said she'd seen someone standing at the end of the hallway upstairs and just figured it was my roommate. And I told her I didn't have a roommate. I searched the house again. Nothing. The attic hatch was closed. Every room was empty. I convinced myself that maybe she mistaken a shadow. Then, yesterday is when it happened. I was grocery shopping. My phone alerted me that my front door camera had detected movement. I opened my app immediately. Instead, what I saw was someone that looked like me walking into my house. It's my same height, my jacket, the same cap I wear. The only problem was I was standing in the cereal aisle 30 minutes away. That person was not me. The figure unlocked my front door and walked inside and closed it behind him. After that, all the interior cameras were disconnected at the same time. When I got home, they were still offline. The router had been unplugged. Nothing was stolen, but every picture frame in my house had been turned around to face the wall. Every single one of them. The police came again. They dusted for prints. No luck. One officer quietly asked if I'd ever sleepwalked. This made me want to scream. This wasn't me. It's someone else. I decided to stay at my parents' place for a couple of nights to clear my head. This morning, I finally came back to my place to grab some clothes. I almost felt silly, like maybe I had imagined half of it. Maybe stress had gotten to me. I unlocked the front door. Everything looked normal until I walked into the kitchen. On the table was a printed photograph. It was fresh. It showed me standing in my parents' driveway yesterday afternoon. The picture had been taken from inside their second floor bedroom window. Written neatly across the bottom in black marker was one sentence: "You never wave anymore." I packed my bags and left. I'm typing this from a motel almost an hour away. I haven't told anyone which motel I stayed at. About 20 minutes ago, my phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. It was just a text. No image was attached and no greeting. Just one sentence. "Wrong motel. Check the closet." I haven't opened it. I can hear something shifting inside. I don't want to run anymore, and I'm done trying to call the police. If I stop replying, you can assume I finally looked.